know that the Imagined Order is one of the most evil organizations in the Fortnite universe, and it looks like they're making their return. But first, you're all probably receiving piles of homework each day at school, leaving you less time to do things you enjoy, like play Fortnite. But I have good news. Everyone who hits the thumbs up button on the count of 3 won't have any homework next week. 3, 2, 1. Hey, it worked. Enjoy your no homework. After the Collision Live event, we all assumed that the Imagined Order was gone from the island and replaced with a new villain, being the Herald in the last reality. But we were wrong, and the Imagined Order has made their return. But first, look how close we are to 4.31 million subscribers. We couldn't be any closer. It truly would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button and be my 4,310,000 subscriber. Last video, I asked you guys to name this emote, and there's a bunch of people on the screen right now who got it right. For this video, we have a new emote. If you know the name of this, make sure to leave it down below in the comments. We've wasted too much time. One of the most evil characters in Fortnite is back. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Now, before we hop in game and check out the return of the Imagined Order and Dr. Slone, first things first, we need to talk about a secret map change that came to the Fortnite island as a result of the most recent update we received earlier this week. And I'm not talking about the obvious map changes, like what we saw happen at Coney Crossroads, where it began being overrun with the chrome, resulting in these giant balloons being attached to a bunch of the buildings in order to elevate them off of the ground so they don't get infected as well. Now, this exact same map change we actually saw happen to the Butter Barn, as well as the entire Sleepy Sound point of interest. You're even able to see the lighthouse is attached to a drone of some form. But the most important change actually came to the reality tree, where if you'll remember last season, the reality tree was a giant beautiful tree full of life. But then season 4 came out, where it's not really a tree at all anymore, and it's more of just a stump. Anyway, you know how the Herald is looking into that giant crystal ball, and in the image she's looking at, we're actually able to see an updated version of the reality tree with lots of chrome. Well, it finally happened, because as you can see, there's a bunch of chrome hexagons surrounding the reality tree, and inside of the Fortnite game files, there are actually a bunch of different phases that the tree is going to be going through. Currently, we are in phase number 2. The reality tree can now be heard making a brand new sound. Now the question remains, what exactly is the Herald doing with the reality tree? Well, here's the answer. I want you to pay attention to every single chrome POI we have in the game right now. You'll notice that all of them have one thing in common, and that was last season, some reality roots appeared there. And since the reality tree was linked to the 0 point, it ended up bringing back a bunch of old fan favorite point of interest. It's very likely that the Herald is doing the exact same thing this season, except this time, she's using the power of the reality tree and all of the different reality routes to help accomplish her mission and spread the chrome across the entire Fortnite map. That's all a part of her plan in order to bring us into something known as the Nothing, which originally we just thought meant the entire Fortnite map being covered in chrome, because that's what the description of the Bite skin was hinting at, literally being a part of the Into the Nothing set. But we couldn't have been more wrong, and instead, the Nothing isn't a place, but instead is an actual character, which was revealed in this week's Bite quest, where you actually had to go up and tune a TV, which results in the Nothing actually talking to Bites, but they go on to tell them that he actually has to prove himself, which explains the description of his pickaxe, where it reads it must be earned, meaning our original theory that Bites is someone who escaped from the Nothing is incorrect, and instead his mission is actually to join the Nothing, which he's actively trying to do through the Bites quest. And I'm just about to reveal the return of the Imagined Order as well as Dr. Slone, but first, there is currently a war going down on the Fortnite island. I'm not talking about the war between the Imagined Order and the 7, or even the Herald, who is actively working on bringing our Fortnite map into the Nothing, but instead this war is actually between the Meowscles family and Doggo, which I find to be absolutely hilarious because we all know that dogs and cats don't really get along in real life. Anyway, I'm sure we all know that the Meowscles skin was recently added as an NPC on the Fortnite map, where we found out that Meowscles is actually the sister of Meowscles. But check this out, boys. Here we are in Battle Lab, where we have the Doggo skin equipped, where all we need to do to get the answers about this war going down between Meowscles and Doggo is simply go up to the Meowscles NPC, where she'll actually say, "You should get gone before my brother sees you." Now, obviously, we all know that Meowscles' brother is Meowscles himself. Now, believe it or not, the reason they don't get along isn't as simple as one being a dog and another being a cat, but instead, the Doggo skin was originally released on May 26, 2019, before Meowscles, where he came with this loading screen where you're able to see Doggo chilling with a bunch of dogs, and in the background, you're able to make out one very lonely looking cat that appears to be left out of the fun altogether. And then 9 months later in Chapter 2, Season 2, we finally receive the Meowscles skin, meaning there's a good chance that the lonely cat in Doggo's loading screen could actually be a young version of Meowscles. So the whole reason that Meowscles was telling Doggo to get away before he came back was likely because Meowscles still holds a grudge against Doggo for not letting him get in on the fun when he was a kitten. But now, it's finally time to reveal the return of the Imagined Order, and specifically, Dr. Slone herself, who we thought we got rid of during the Collision Live event. But to understand the return of Dr. Slone, we need to rewind the clock all the way back to Chapter 2, Season 7, where the Fortnite Island was beginning to be invaded by some aliens in the last reality, and Dr. Slone had actually developed a weapon with a plan to take out the mothership, which brought us into the Skyfire Live event, where she ended up exploding the bomb in the mothership with all of us on it in an attempt to prevent the cube from returning to the Fortnite map, because she knew if the cube were to return, it would give the last reality another opportunity to invade, meaning while we all thought she was evil and had turned on us, in reality, she was actually trying her best to save the Fortnite Island. But obviously, this didn't go as planned, and the cubes ended up making the return along with the Cube Queen, which brought us into the end of Chapter 2 event, where we saw Agent Jones strapped to a chair, and her plan was to execute Jones for betraying the Imagined Order, which we saw during the Chapter 2 Season 6 Zero Crisis. This didn't go as planned, because obviously, the Foundation ended up busting in and saving Jones. It's quickly starting to look like Dr. Slone and Agent Jones share the same goal of saving the island. They just simply disagree on the best way of doing it. Anyway, after the map ended up flipping over, Dr. Slone actually had to use her drills to penetrate to the other side of the island, where a full-on war between the Imagined Order and the Seven began. And this is when the collision event happened, but at the very beginning, you could actually hear Agent Jones saying that Slone isn't a monster, once again hinting that their goals are actually very similar. But then at the end of the live event, we witnessed Dr. Slone get crushed by the mecha robot, begging the question, did Dr. Slone survive or is she gone for good? Because until this week, we haven't seen her anywhere on the Fortnite map since the live event. Same with the Imagined Order. They've seemed to totally disappear. We'll reveal the answer in a second. You remember earlier in the video when we mentioned that Dr. Slone created the device to destroy the mothership and then left us for dead while the bomb exploded just to prevent the cube from returning and possibly bring in the last reality? Well, here in Season 4, we find ourselves in a similar situation where this thing called the Nothing is threatening the Fortnite Island, and the Nothing is the last reality, specifically a malevolent entity and sentient force from the last reality, meaning Dr. Slone's theory was correct all along, and if the Seven didn't win the war during the Collision Live event, it may have prevented the arrival of the Nothing altogether. But as you can see, in this new angle from the Collision Live event, Dr. Slone was able to take cover inside the tank before the mecha robot smashed her, meaning that she most likely survived, and the Panther NPC will actually confirm this if you go and chat with her while wearing Dr. Slone. And on top of that, Dr. Slone is actually invincible, as Agent Jones revealed when he said that everyone on the island management team gets immortality. Not only does this prove that Dr. Slone is alive and well, it also reveals that Slone and Agent Jones do indeed have the same goals since they're both a part of the island management team. The last reality threatening the Fortnite Island once again, mainly because of the Herald trying to bring us into the Nothing. It's very clear that now more than ever, we require Dr. Slone's expertise in order to save us, and as soon as we have more info on this, like what it's all leading up to, a massive live event, I'll make sure to tweet it all out over my Twitter account at HomeGamesYT. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.